Hello everyone, it's Amanda. It's the 21st of May 2018 and we're into another week. We're up and raring to go, hopefully. I'm going to cover a few different things in this video. We're going to be looking at the aftermath of the royal wedding, and in particular the speech from the Reverend and what we can learn from that. We are also going to be maybe having a little look again at Earth changes. I'm not sure, we'll see if anything else comes out on that. And I've also got my Facebook open and I've got some questions coming in, so I'm going to answer that. It's a bit of a question and answer session as well. Thank you very much, by the way, everyone that has emailed me offering your services as a moderator. Haven't got back to any of you yet, so that's just because I had a busy week last week. Well, I always have busy weeks, but I will get back to you. And when I'm ready to go with that, we will do that. Thank you very much. I've probably got more than enough now, so those of you that have already sent in messages to me, I will reply to you in time. Okay, so thank you very much for that. Also, just a couple of housekeeping things before we get going. I wanted to put an apology out, actually. I don't always look at every single comment that comes in. And do you remember me saying, particularly when I put up the videos on the world leaders that I was doing, there were a few that I just knew was going to stir the pot a lot and I didn't want to read all of the comments. Maybe I felt a bit braver. I went back and read some of them over the weekend, and I have to say there was some, particularly the Obama videos. I mean, shame on you if you put racist stuff on my page. Going forward, if that happens again, I'm sorry, it's just zero tolerance, guys. You will be blocked. It's as simple as that. I'm just not having it. And you know, if you're coming here to a spiritual channel and you think it's okay to spout vile, racist stuff, sexist stuff, misogynistic stuff, it's not okay, and I'm not having it. Okay, so you know, you can post if you want to, but it will soon be removed and it will be deleted and you will be blocked. Okay, this is a community of love and light, and I will police it as best as I can. Metatron is also saying to me, though, because we live in an age where the internet is both our friend and our enemy, and it's amazing because it brings a group of like-minded people together like it does us, but there's also a lot of trolls out there. And what I would ask you to do is, if you see what I noticed on some of the threads where people were trying to argue with people who clearly didn't want to be argued with, they just wanted to ram home their message of vile abuse. And you know, if you see that, just report that person. You can report people to YouTube, and that's the best way to do it, because what Metatron is saying is that we have a duty as well to help clean up the internet a bit. That does not mean that you start reporting people who you don't agree with. If you don't agree with their opinion, I'm all for people being able to express a difference of opinion, including that of my own, as long as it's done respectfully. As soon as it starts to err into the side of being rude, offensive, either to me or anybody else on this page, that's where, you know, there's a red line in the sand. Okay, and we're in 5D now, and it's going to be a case of having our boundaries up so that we can do this work, and we can do this work in a loving, respectful place. And if you don't want to be in the place, then this isn't the page for you. Okay, sorry to say that, but I was just appalled by some of what I was seeing. Okay, moving on. I want to show you something rather beautiful that I got given over the weekend. Okay, and it's a painting, and it's a painting that has been done for me by a lady, and I won't name her because it just feels a very personal connection, this. And it's this. Let me just show it to you, and then I want to tell you what it says on it. Okay, so this is the painting, you see, and we've got, this is an image of Mount St Michel, which is in Normandy in France. And what she said to me was that she had a vision of, this is what I could see out of my window. Now, I can't actually see Mount St Michel out of my window, but you can see it's like a mirage. And there's a ley line, of course, and maybe I'm on a ley line because I'm obviously right beside the English coast, and France is only the other side of it. So there's an energy linking us to Mont Saint Michel, and of course linking into Archangel Michael. The colours are beautiful. They feel very much connected into the elements to me of fire, earth, water and air. but it's the writing, which you can't see around it, that I'm just going to tell you what it says, because it just feels so profound to me personally, but also to us as a collective. And what she says is, there are decades when nothing happens, and then there are moments when decades happen. One moment can change everything. So there are decades when nothing happens, and then there are moments when decades happen. One moment can change everything. I read that and it was like, pow. It just went straight into my heart. I got it, I understood it. And I think, as well as I say, it being a personal message, it feels as though it's collective, because that feels like what we're entering into now. Times of change upon our earth, where things have been stagnant for so long, but it's like change is here. Somebody asked me on Facebook today, do I feel the event is here? Has it started? And my response to that would be, well, it started decades ago. This is just another wave that's coming in, really. It isn't just one event. There are many events that make up what is being called the event across YouTube. It's an acceleration of the light, and it's an acceleration of the ascension path, and it's extremely exciting. And that which feels as though it's been a mirage for so long, and that we've held something as a distant ideal, but it's like, how the hell do we ever bring that to earth? It feels as though we're moving closer to that. I personally felt over the last weekend, and that was the weekend of May the 19th, 20th, that there was a huge shift towards New Earth. And also a huge shift within my own life as well. And I thought I posted something on Facebook about it, because I was a bit spaced out on Saturday night, because it had sort of happened that day. And I felt as though, I called the video that I did on Facebook, what did I call it? A day out of time. That's right, a day out of time, because that's what it felt like. It felt like Saturday the 19th was a day out of time. To me, it was triggered by the fact I was doing some quite intensive work with Archangel Metatron that day. I was doing some healing work, but I got a big dose of it myself, and I also got an upgrade and a reattunement actually into his energy. It took me a good 48 hours to come back down from that and be able to fully ground. If it's happening to you and you're feeling these big shifts, and it's like, oh, I don't know quite where I am, it's like something's changing, but it's like everything looks the same, but everything feels different. I found food actually was a very good way to ground myself, in all seriousness. Carbohydrate, a bit of stodge, and also a bit of what your body is used to as comfort. So whether that is a glass of wine, whether it is a sugary donut, whatever it is, actually, I'm not giving you the green light to go full helter-skelter and, go down a path of unhealthy eating, but I'm just saying the body, my body anyway, needed some comfort that evening, and so I gave it what it likes, which is a glass of wine and some nice food, and it was like, oh, okay, it's all right, I can cope with this, I can cope with whatever that energy was that came in today. So I'm going to look at, well, what is that energy that came in? Because I'm sure it wasn't just for me. I'm sure, well, I know that quite a few people experienced, because I got the comments coming up on my page. It obviously tied in with the royal wedding, didn't it? Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. What I would say about that in retrospect is, there's a lot that I could say about it, to be honest. There's a lot that I don't want to say, because I'm still feeling what I felt with the royal wedding video that I made 3-4 weeks ago, whenever that was. And the story is, the problem is, I'm old enough to have lived through the fairy tale of Prince Charles and Princess Diana, and be presented with the fairy tale that everybody hooked into, hook, line and sinker. Well, a lot of people did anyway, and I'm not saying it has the same outcome as that, but I just know that fairy tales have an aspect of darkness within them sometimes, the dark and the light. And I just know that it's a much more complex scenario and energy with those two and that union than what we necessarily saw on Saturday. And I celebrate the love that we saw on Saturday. Never doubted that for 1 minute, that they didn't have that. And it's infectious, isn't it, when you see a couple who are so in love. It's beautiful. It opens everybody's hearts. But the reason I don't want to expand too much is that I just would prefer to maybe say things as and when they happen, if and when they happen, whether that is months or decades from now, because I just know that there is a story being played out there that is heavily linked into karma. It's heavily linked into past lives as well. I mean, even the date of the marriage was on the date that Anne Boleyn was beheaded by Henry VIII, and she was put to death because of adultery. Now, again, I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen, but it's just there's a lot that you can't see going on beneath the scenes. There's also a lot that's going on within the hierarchy of the royal family that you can't see. And so I'm wanting to keep a very grounded approach to it. I'm honouring the love that I saw, but I'm not going to get carried away by it, because I'm holding the duality. That's what I'm doing. I'm holding the duality, the light and the dark. I'm celebrating the light that we saw on Saturday, but I'm also able to see and feel the underbelly as well. Okay, that's all I want to really say for now on that. Two other things though, with regard to the wedding. I have got a bit of the beautiful speech to read to you, just because it's a transmission of love, and who doesn't want that? But one thing I did say in the royal wedding video that I made previously was that, do you remember Princess Diana came through at the end? And it didn't make sense at the time when it came through, but it does now, because what she was talking about was that she was going to be anchoring in, Princess Diana's energy was going to be anchoring in on that day an energy of love, and she called it a rainbow bridge. And she put herself at one end of this rainbow bridge, and she obviously represents the spiritual world because she's that side of the veil. And the other anchor to it was Harry, okay? And it's really easy to lose sight of him in this, because of course everybody loves a pretty girl, and Meghan is beautiful, and the dress was lovely, and all the rest of it, and the flowers and all of that. We can all get carried away with that. But actually, the main energy that created that day, that created that moment of heart opening, that many people have been touched by, not everybody, but a lot of people have, is Harry. Harry is the anchor, okay? I'm feeling that really, really strongly. And any positive change that you think is coming in as a result of the symbolism of that wedding, and we bring into that race, we bring into that a beautiful girl of mixed race. I don't actually know what her genetic mix is, to be perfectly honest. Doesn't matter to me. But I know that obviously, you know, she's not English and she's not white. She's different. She's American, and she's of mixed race. And she's coming into this very sort of Anglo-Saxon royal family. So she's shaking things up. And she will do whatever she's meant to do with that shake-up. But here's the point. It only is able to happen because of Harry. Harry is the anchor, okay? And I think that some people are rather missing that point as well. They're getting caught up in the glamour of it all, the glamour of her, because she is glamorous, she is beautiful. But please remember that there are two anchors. One is Harry and the other one is Diana, with whatever this particular wave is that links into the ongoing opening of the hearts of humanity. It's only one wave, guys, okay? And if it's a wave that you don't resonate with, let it go, it doesn't matter. But other people are resonating with this wave, and it is opening their hearts, and that's good, okay? How can it not be good? So I will just read it was funny actually, because as I say, I was working, I missed the royal wedding, I caught it on catch up, didn't watch it live, and I got back in, and I said to my husband, obviously, you know, how was it? And he said, oh yeah, whatever, it went off well. And he said, this Reverend, he said he droned on a bit. And then I went onto Facebook and everyone was saying, wow, this speech was amazing. So it's like, I got the light and the dark, oh, he droned on. But then also I got other people saying, oh my God, it was the most amazing moment. So I thought that was quite funny. This is the bit that I wanted to reread out to you. And even if you've heard it, and even if you heard it live, actually, in all seriousness, let's just sink into the vibration of love. And actually what I'm going to spray with it is the energy of hope. Okay, so this is the olive green hope spray. Before I spray it, I love the fact that some of you were picking up on all the colour energies I was talking about last time in my last video. Colour-wise, I did you notice that the Queen was dressed in lime green? She was head to toe in lime green. And that was linked into this energy. Hold on. Okay, she was wearing that basically. She was wearing lime green. This is 15. 15 links into the Magician, okay? She still holds the power, okay? She holds the power. And it's interesting actually, my bottle's changed. It's got like an apple green on the bottom and a lime green. Usually the bottle's just lime green. But anyway, that was a clear message to say, I'm the one still holding the power. At this time, on the 19th, might change going forward, but on that day, that was her message. I'm the one still holding the feminine power. And that was a clear message going out, as well as linking into the energy of the Magician. And whatever you think about the royal family, whatever you think about the Queen, you know, and a lot of people really dislike them and all the rest of it. Illuminati, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we all know. We know that story that it's well, not necessarily a story. We know that perspective, you know, and I'm not dissing it. That if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. But here's the nub. To bring in light to anything, there has to be somebody that is willing to, what am I trying to say here? I want to get the words right because I know it's really easy to be misquoted on this. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that somebody put something on my Facebook page and they were saying along the lines of, wouldn't it be interesting if it was the royal family were part of the ascension process of this planet? So straight away, we can go into two camps with that. We can go into the camp of, yes, wouldn't that be wonderful? Or we can go into the camp of a very extreme other camp, which is, no, not in a million years. You know, these people are, you know, Illuminati, reptilians, all the rest of it. No way are they going to change. But here's the thing. Whatever you feel, whatever perspective you have, okay, and I'm honouring both paths actually here, light will come through. Transformation will come through. So, but she was on the Saturday, she was talking about, she was just standing there in her feminine power. Right. I'm not sure I really explained that very well, but it doesn't matter. It's not the nub of this video. That's for another day. Let's link into the Reverend Curry's words with hope. So let's just spray olive green hope. And here are his words, the bits that I want to read anyway. Stop and imagine for a minute. Think and imagine. Think and imagine a world where love is the way. Imagine our homes and families when love is the way. Imagine our neighbourhoods and communities where love is the way. Imagine governments and nations where love is the way. Imagine business and commerce where love is the way. Imagine this tired old world when love is the way. When love is the way, unselfish, sacrificial, redemptive. When love is the way, then no child will go to bed hungry in this world ever again. When love is the way, we will let justice roll down like a mighty stream and righteousness like an ever-flowing brook. When love is the way, poverty would become history. When love is the way, the earth will be a sanctuary. And when love is the way, we will lay our swords and shields down by the riverside to study war no more. When love is the way, there's plenty of room for all of God's children. And when love is the way, we actually treat each other well, like we are actually family. When love is the way, we know that God is the source of all, and we are brothers and sisters and children of God. Brothers and sisters, that's a new heaven, a new earth, a new world, a new human family. Let me tell you something. Old Solomon was right in the Old Testament. That's fire. And then this last bit, I mean, it's all beautiful. He talks a lot about the fire and water. And of course, all of last week, Metatron was talking about fire and water with earth changes. He says, I know that the Bible says, and I believe it, that Jesus walked on water. But I have to tell you, I didn't walk across the Atlantic Ocean to get here. Controlled fire in that plane got me here. Fire makes it possible for us to text and tweet and email and Instagram and Facebook and socially be dysfunctional with each other. Fire makes that possible. Dr. King was right. We must discover love, this redemptive power of love. And when we do that, we will be able to make this old world a new world. It's really beautiful. You can print it out quite, you can find that quite easily on Google and print it out. I'm going to keep it. It's got a lot of depth to it. A lot of depth. Very beautiful. Love is the way, guys. Love's always been the way. And even to those that we dislike, even to those that are our enemy, love is the way. One other last thing on the royals, which I will just say, another thing that I felt was that it was a celebration of young love. And of course, young love, when it's in its infancy like that, is infectious, and maybe we can all relate to that or remember that. But I was also drawn to the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh, who have been married for, I don't know, 60, 70 years. And that's an aged love, and that is a love that, it's a love that is just quite extraordinary, particularly when you get to the end of your life, which you are at the end of your life if you're 96. He's 96. He's not going to go on forever. I just thought it was very poignant to have that couple who'd been married for so long and were approaching their latter years, and then this couple who were young and had it all ahead of them. There was so much poignancy in that. Let's just pull 3 cards post-wedding, shall we? And I'm going to pull 3 cards, yeah, and then we're going to move on to a different subject. Yeah, and please don't just write loads of stuff about dissing the Queen and all the rest of it in this. It's just remember what that Reverend was trying to teach us, that it's all about love. And even if you really dislike somebody and what they stand for, that's the lesson. That is the lesson. To sink into that. To love the darkness as well as the light. Love is the thing that transforms the darkness. Not more hate, not more bitterness, not more judgment. Not more vitriol. That doesn't change anything. That just adds to it. Darkness feeds off that. The thing that transforms it is love. 3 cards post-wedding. I'm just going to ask about the energy post-wedding, okay? The energy post-wedding. The 10 of Air. Which I think would be the 10 of Swords. And it's like vultures. The Ace of Earth. And Spirit Guide. Okay. The 10 of Air. The Ace of Earth. And Spirit Guide. So this is energy post the wedding. I'm being careful what I say, which is why I'm pausing. I'm looking at this card, the 10 of Air. They look like vultures to me. This is a new deck. I got it at the weekend because one of you suggested I get it. Thank you, whoever it was. Was it Magda? No, I'm not sure who it was. Anyway, this is the deck, Vision Quest by Gayan Winter. Okay, it's great. And I tell you what, it's extremely accurate. I've been pulling it and playing with it over the weekend and asking, just looking at the stuff with myself, and it's like, oh my God, this is accurate. These are accurate cards. Vultures. Vultures feed on what is decaying, don't they? Okay. Vultures also don't leave anything. They don't leave anything. This is almost a card. To me, this is a card which is post. When I say a death scenario, it doesn't have to be physical death. It can be energetic death, the death of something. When something dies, the vultures gather and they make sure that nothing is left of the old. Okay. Followed by the Ace of Earth, which shows a corn, which takes us to, well, for me, you know, they come in autumn time, the sweet corn in the fields. It's a card of plenty. This is almost a card of feast and famine to me. Famine and feast. And making sense of all of that energy is the Spirit Guide card. But it does say negative thinking, doesn't it? Let me just go to the book. I think around the couple, do you know what I honestly think? I think they've been allowed to have their day and it's gone off well. And I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't want to be her. I wouldn't want to marry into that family. It's like the vultures are gathering now and they will peck away. So she needs some protection. This isn't about her life, by the way, guys. This is more about her energy. This could also be her family. Her family behaved appallingly in the run up to the wedding. Hugely disrespectful to her. Whatever, even if they were, you know, what they were saying was true, they should have just shut up. You know, have some respect, have some grace. There was none of that. So it's like, I think this could also be her family wanting to make something off her back. Not her father, by the way, but others, extended family. Not liking the feeling of it, negative thinking. You know, or yeah, it is, it's her family. It's like, how do we benefit from this? What can we get from this? Ten of Air. Clinging to self-destructive notions, doubts, fears. It says no new, this is interesting, you see, it says no new seeds should be thrown onto this field of doubts. Straighten yourself out first, try not to hold on to past offences. So no new seed should be thrown onto the field of doubt, but then we've got a field of plenty. I think it's just a karmic thing playing out here, I really do. And it's like if I didn't actually particularly want this to be about Harry and Meghan because I wanted it to be more general, but I feel it is. But they represent us, don't forget. And this is why there's so much I could say here, but there's karma playing out in this situation, okay? And they are playing something out to heal something, which is, yes, within themselves and within their family line, but is also helping us as a collective to let go of something too. Taking it down now to an individual level. If you go to any workshop, and I always say this, and if somebody in that workshop has a bit of a little mini breakdown or cries or, you know, has a response to something, and sometimes people get very embarrassed by that, and I always say, please don't, because the reason that you're having that response, the reason that you're having that healing crisis right now is because you're actually doing it for everybody else in the group, because everybody else in the group can relate to that scenario that is coming up to be healed. And that's what it is with these two, okay? So there are things to do with fidelity, betrayal, loyalty. And I think this is Diana. I think the spirit guide is watching over this. I think she's watching over this scenario. Remember, she's the anchor of this rainbow bridge. She and Harry. It's on the bottom of the deck. Contemplation. Don't want to go too much further with that now, okay? Because it's steering me off topic. I just wanted to have a little look at it, but that's what it is, okay? All right, we're going to send them love. It'll play out how it's meant to play out. Let's go and do something else now. I'm going to go and have a look at the questions that are coming in on Facebook. There was one that, as I just get my computer booted up, there was one that I saw today which I wanted to answer. somebody came in and they were talking about the sprays, for example, and they were saying, well, I found the comment, does computer radiation upset the crystal sprays? So I'm taking this, I want to talk about this in relation to not just the sprays but crystals as well. And what I'm being told is that obviously if you stick crystals or you stick one of these sprays on top of your computer or on your TV screen, it's not the best place for it, because of course there's going to be a build-up of electromagnetic radiation. But the message that was coming through, Metatron was saying that at the end of the day, there are very few places on this earth that don't have electromagnetic smog, Wi-Fi radiation, unless you're in the middle of the jungle or somewhere. Most of us, even if we turn off our Wi-Fi routers at night, there is still radiation from that coming through our homes, because all businesses have them, all other houses in our street have them. It's hard to switch that off completely. And what I'm being told is that at the end of the day, crystals, and these have crystal energy within them, crystals have been here since, you know, the world began, and crystals have the ability to be able to transmute and to evolve just as we are. So the crystals are starting to have to learn to cope with the smog that is within our world. It's not ideal, but it is something that they are able to do, okay? So yeah, but certainly with crystals, with sprays, try and keep them away from very obvious sources of electromagnetic radiation. Let's just have a little look at what questions have come in. A lot of you are asking for another twin flame video. I will do that soon. Let's have a look. Who are we going to pick? Okay, Kate, you just bought the Vision Quest deck. That's good. Okay. Okay, to be honest, there's so many questions there. Thank you all very much for bringing them up, but it's like I can't possibly cover all of those, and they're all in totally so many different subjects. So what do we do with this? Let's just count up from the bottom and choose a number, and I'm going to answer that one. So I'm going to count up 7 from the bottom as it is right now. Let's see who we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's Kate's comment about liking the Vision Quest deck. Okay, that's Metatron saying just pull some cards, pull some more cards. Let's pull some more cards for the week ahead, okay? Let's have a look at the energy for the week ahead. It's like you say, you can't possibly answer all of that, so let's just do some cards from the Vision Quest deck. Week ahead of the 21st of May 2018. Let's have 5 cards then. Number 1 is accumulation. Number 2 is love. Ah, accumulating love, that's nice. Number 3. Clarity. Number 4. Integration. Number 5, the Son of Earth. Okay. I'm going to pull a clarifying card for each one of these. I love these cards, they're great. Oops. Hurt goes underneath accumulation. What goes underneath love? Victory. What goes underneath clarity? Two. Ooh, okay. Will and oppression. I'll talk about these. What goes underneath integration? Insecurity. What goes underneath the Son of Earth? Joy. Right, let's take them one by one, okay? Oh, right. Certainly there is a feeling, there's a message here which is quite nice with regards to love, okay? It feels like a good week for love. I guess I've just read out that beautiful passage from Reverend Curry. The energy of that loving message should sustain us and should help us and will support us through this week. And it has also reminded a few people around the world that actually love is important. And you can't just accumulate money and possessions and status and forget about what your heart wants, okay? Because we've got the card of accumulation with the card of hurt. And sometimes we only accumulate things when we are hurt. We accumulate money, we accumulate possessions, we accumulate whatever it is to make up for the hurt that we have within our own heart. And the message here seems to be about the fact that really that's not leading you anywhere. What you need to be focusing on is the power of love. Shall I break into Jennifer Rush? No, don't worry, I'm not going to, but that's what I'm hearing in my head. Power of love, love that song. In all seriousness, there's a very strong message here that we can be victorious when we step into love. And what do we have to do to attract love? We have to learn to love ourselves first. We can't have a good relationship unless we do that. But the energies feel as though it's also a week to hold out our hand to others in love. That doesn't have to be romantic love. That can just be about showing love to people. Acts of love, acts of kindness, rather than acts of hate. And that includes what we write on social media, guys. You know, it's letting go of the poison pen and spewing out hate towards somebody that we dislike or a institution that we dislike. Again, let's use the royal family as a good example. That's not going to get you anywhere. Actually, when we do that, what we're actually doing is we're showing our own wounding. We're showing our own hurt. The only way forward where we're going to get any clarity is through showing love. Okay. Now, underneath the card of clarity, we have, some of you are finding it difficult basically to reach a decision and to work out the way forward. That's very, very clear. You're wanting clarity, but it's very, very elusive. And the reason for that is underneath the card of clarity that we've got here. This is the card of clarity. Okay. We have got the card of oppression upside down. And then we've got a card that came out with the card of oppression, which is the card of free will. Okay. So can you see that? They're two completely contradictory energies. Oppression, feeling very oppressed. But then we've got this very powerful energy, which is just like, I can, you know, I can and I will. That's coming through very strongly. So you need to push through this week, whatever is making you feel oppressed, whatever is making you feel as though you can't do something, that you can't reach the answer that you seek. You can have victory, but you're going to have to get to the victory, you're going to have to push through this oppressive energy, okay? And the only way that you're going to be able to do that is to assert your will. What is your will? Having said that, as well as your will, there's also God's will, divine will coming in as well. It's a week, I feel, ahead where we're having to fight a lot of conflicting energies within ourselves, because we've got the cards, as I've just said, of oppression and victory, two total opposites. We've got the card of hurt and accumulation, sort of opposite energy. We've then got the energies of insecurity and joy. We've got insecurity and integration. You know, there's not a lot of how do we make sense of these conflicting energies and conflicting emotions within us and not being able to see the wood from the trees? And to be honest, there is only one thing that's going to be able to help you do that, and that's to soften into this place of love. Okay, soften into that place of love. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that is whatever you're struggling with and whatever you're trying to come to terms with or understand, you can only come to terms with it from a loving place, from a place where your heart is open, from a place where, if for example it's two people and you're trying to work out, maybe it's a relationship thing, you're not going to come to the answer by being in a very lower, vitriolic, aggressive, hurt place. You're only going to come to the right answer for you and to receive the clarity that you need from sinking into your heart space, softening into love, feeling love for yourself, and also if you can't feel love for the person that you're struggling with at the moment, link into the love that you will be able to feel if you link into their higher self, because their higher self is an aspect of the divine. We all have that divinity within us. So it's a strange week ahead. It's an up and down week ahead. And the thing that's going to get you through it is the energy of love. Okay, let's just go to another question. And then I think I'll probably do another video on, well, I'll do another video on twin flames, not necessarily today. I've got other things going on, but I'll do it soon. Come on, Facebook. Let me have some more water. A lot of you are asking about how do I stay in 5D whilst around me everything is feeling very 3D, or you know, there are people in my life who are very 3D. How do I cope with that? And none of us want to know that the answer is simple. We're wanting techniques and tools, but really the answer is this: sinking into love and love again. It is the only answer. My computer is not working properly. It's not letting me see your other questions. Okay. Probably a reason for that. Maybe this video is long enough. I don't know how long I've been speaking for. Just opened it up now. Okay, let's choose one more question. Patience is a virtue that I need to learn in life, as well as most of us, as my computer chugs away. Here we go. Oh, okay, yeah. Diana. Awesome, Amanda, thank you. I'm watching all of your videos at the moment. Thank you very much. So curious as to what's to come, and the time thing is definitely affecting me. My clocks just refuse to keep the time at the moment, so I've given up and I've left it where it stopped last at 12 a couple of weeks ago, and I'm struggling to shake this tiredness all the way from New Zealand with love. Yeah, I wanted to actually talk about time a little bit, because I experienced that on Saturday. It was just like I felt like I'd lost a good few hours of the day, and this links back to what I was talking about in the Earth Changes video, where we were linking into the Merkaba to help keep us safe in the event of Earth changes. And if you've watched that video, what you were being asked to do was anchor into a safe place on Earth, and then whatever is to occur, whenever that occurs, it's as though there is a dimensional shift whereby it will still be happening around you, but it's as though you are transported to post the event, whatever the event is, and you're safe and you're well. And I think the more that I'm linking into this, I think this is more to do with a time, it's like a time shift. And I experienced it on Saturday, and it's a really strange thing to try and explain, because it's something that's pure energy. I was there, but I wasn't there, is the only way I can explain it. And I know that sounds completely like I'm a lunatic, but that's what it felt like. I was present on Saturday, I went to sleep for a couple of hours, but it's like I woke up and it's like everything felt different. Everything looked the same, but everything felt different. And I knew that in that moment there had been a shift of time. I also knew that I had shifted on to a different part of my destiny map as well. That had definitely happened, but there had been a dimensional shift, there had been a time shift, something had happened that couldn't be explained by the rational mind. And yeah, this thing about timelines seems to link into how spirit are going to keep us safe through whatever changes occur. You are not going to be able to understand that with your rational mind, so to be honest, I wouldn't even bother to try. I mean, if you want to and you have that desire, please do, but I'm not the teacher for you. I very much go on trust and faith, and I just know what I feel. And I feel that however we get to the other side, whether we've been put into the ark or we've put ourselves into the ark with Metatron, as in the last couple of videos I've done, or we've done the Merkaba activation, or both, somehow there's something happening within that moment that we're either within the Merkaba or within our ark, which is about something happens to time. It's as though we're lifted out of it and transplanted and put back onto the earth. We don't go anywhere. I mean, on Saturday, I woke up 3 hours later. I hadn't gone anywhere. I was lying on my bed. I was asleep. You know, if somebody had come into my room, that's where I was. But I woke up and I knew I'd been somewhere different. Okay, back. Where is it? Where's my picture? This is the picture. This is it. There are decades when nothing happens, and then there are moments when decades happen. One moment can change everything. A moment can transport you to a different time, a different place, the other side of the rainbow, here on earth, the other side of the event. Okay? There's just so much to say. There's so much to say. I will actually just tell you a little bit about a little story over the weekend, which came in via my mum. And my mum is 70, well, what is she now? 73, something like that, 74. I talk about her quite a bit, and you know, some of you feel like you know her. And anyway, she's a churchgoer. She is, you know, she is who she is. She's very grounded, very normal, very 3D in her thinking. And she came round on Sunday just to, you know, have a cup of tea and a piece of cake. And to be honest, on Sunday I was just wanting to switch off. You know, there are days where you just want to switch off from all the spiritual stuff, even though you know you can't, because you're a spiritual being and you live and breathe this 24 hours 7. But I just wanted just to have a moment of normality and have a piece of cake and a cup of tea with my mum. And she starts telling me that Saturday evening, it was the 19th, it was the same day when I'm telling you I had this slightly strange experience, and then there was the royal wedding and there was that whole wave as well. She said she went into a kitchen, it was in the evening, and it was dark, and she looked out to the sky and she said there were 2 red lights in the sky. And she said it was nothing like she'd seen before in her life. It wasn't an aeroplane. There was no reason for these 2 red lights to be there. Just 2 red circular lights in the sky. And she said they were so unusual, and they weren't moving. That was the thing. They weren't moving, but they were sort of obscured by cloud. So whatever they were, you couldn't really see because it was in cloud. You could just see the 2 red lights. She wasn't really freaked out by it. She was just interested by it and knew it was out of the ordinary. I think it must have happened about 11 o'clock at night, because she said she would have called me to say, can you see them as well, if it hadn't been so late. But anyway, she didn't. So she trundled off into the lounge, had a cup of coffee or whatever, came back. And as she came back into the kitchen, she said she started to see that they were starting to move away, is the only way she described it. She couldn't see anything else that was linked into the red lights, but she said what was interesting about it was when the red lights started to disappear, the cloud also disappeared. And she said, what do you think it was? So I said, well, it sounds a bit like a UFO, Mum. And Sophie, my little crystal child, was sitting on the sofa. She said, what was it, Mum? What was it? And this is where you have to be, you know, you have to also be grounded as well as you're talking about this type of stuff. So I said, well, unidentified flying object, Sophie, it's exactly what it says it is. It's something where we don't understand what it was. And what was so interesting about it was that all three of us just sat there. It was like we were just like nodding, going, yeah, probably was. It was just like, there wasn't anything, there wasn't any drama about it at all. It was just like, yeah, can't explain that. And I know, because I've researched this type of stuff before, I know often they do hide behind clouds. But there was something interesting about the way that the lights took away the cloud with it. And that feels symbolic as well. The light takes away the darkness. There was something there, this dark, ugly cloud that it was in was taken away when the light was the light absorbed it or did something. It just dissolved. So I thought that was interesting. So what a day, what a weekend, and what a day, particular Saturday the 19th was. Should we pull a card? A couple of cards actually, just for Saturday the 19th. Let's just do that. Let's just pull a card for Saturday the 19th. What the hell was it about? Well, it was part of the ascension wave, that's what it was. But as I say, there are many, many different waves. Contemplation, we've still got the card of contemplation coming out. And we've got the card of Mother Earth on the bottom of the deck. So, yeah, Mother Earth. Mother Earth contemplating, Mother Earth reflecting, Mother Earth pausing. Pausing before what? We're still in that lull. We're still in that lull that I talked about last week. There's still something to come in, still something to happen. So, we'll see what that is. Let's just take one final question and then I'm going to sign off for this video. Let's just see. Tell you what, it's an exciting time to be alive, guys. I mean, maybe we did live in other eras where not much happened, but we've all chosen to be born right now where there's an awful lot happening. And there's so much shifting in our personal lives and in our collective, it's hard to hang on to, isn't it? But I personally would prefer it that way than stagnation. Stagnation is just death, you know. It's good for these changes to be happening. I mean, how, you know, come on, I'm in Bournemouth and I'm talking about UFOs with my mother over a cup of tea and a piece of cake. And none of us are freaked out by it. And what was also interesting was all of us just agreed, yeah, we don't understand it. And it's fine that we don't understand it, you know. It'll be revealed in time. That's a nice comment. No question from my side this morning. Just want to thank you for your work. She's put for your work and addiction. I'm sure you didn't mean to say addiction, but quite like that typo. My life and view of life changed since 11/11 meditation and your guidance the days before. I trust in universe. I feel so good now. I've got some lovely new friends. Some of my old friends stepped back. That's happening a lot. And some old friends became also enlightened. I do know now why I am in this particular life. I enjoy every day, both the good and the tough ones. Lots of love, Aurora. That's a lovely message. Thank you for that. Yeah, a few of you are talking about the fact that you've got old friends stepping away. It's fine, guys. You've got to let go to allow the new in. With regard to timelines, is it safe to collapse? And what would be the best way to heal on or work with them? Well, to be honest, Nikki, from my experience over the weekend, I didn't even realise it was going to happen until it happened, until I was after the event. And I've noticed this in healing with Metatron before, that sometimes when something is maybe very, very deep, or maybe you're very stubbornly clinging on, whether it's to a timeline or anything else, it's like the way to explain it is it's like he knocks you out, lovingly knocks you out, like you've been given anaesthetised, because that's what it felt like to me. I think we have to get out of our mind space. It's a really good question you've asked there, but it's very much coming from the mind. What do I have to do? What, you know, give me the ABC of it. And I think these things are naturally happening. I think ascension is a natural process. It's as natural as breathing. It's us that gets in the way, in the same way that we get in the way of our own healing. I don't actually feel we have to do too much. I think when you're ready, guys, it just seems to happen. So What do you have to do to get ready for it? You have to keep following the principles of 5D consciousness. What is 5D consciousness? 5D consciousness is about love. And you have examples every single day to either respond to somebody from love or from a place of hate or derision or sarcasm or whatever it is. You know, every time you do that, you are thwarting a little bit of your growth. So it's just about stepping into love. Pauline, my question is, I have been feeling very unsettled with my life and my job. Is this a sign that things are about to change? Thank you. I think so. I personally think that we have to sometimes feel deeply unsettled, deeply challenged before we make change in our life. Whether that change is done to us or whether it is change that we bring about through our own will, strength, whatever. I think, I was going to say unfortunately, but at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong. We don't tend to make changes when we're feeling happy and everything's just coasting. We make the changes when we become really, really uncomfortable. And it's like, actually, the thought of not changing is worse than, sorry, the thought of doing nothing is worse. You know what I'm trying to say? The thought of not doing anything is worse than the thought of doing nothing. That's right. Yeah. Okay. You're with me. I'm a Cancerian, so I hate change. You know, I will go backwards, I'll go forwards, I'll go to the side, then I'll go to the other side, then I'll go back to the middle, then I'll go, do I really have to? And the Metatron's like, yeah, just get on with it. You know, sometimes Spirit will give you a big push and make you make the change, but you're only going to make it usually because you're in an uncomfortable place, you are feeling unsettled. So I would actually say love those feelings that are making you feel unsettled, because they're the arrows that will actually push you onward to the new. So absolutely. A lot of you are mentioning the Ring of Fire. Yeah, I mean, it's just something to watch, isn't it? The Ring of Fire, earthquakes, volcanoes, tsunami. I keep hearing a tsunami of grief as well, by the way, guys. So whether it's an actual tsunami or whether it's an emotional tsunami, there's tsunamis coming. What do I want to say other than that? I also want to just flag up St Helens as well. I put a bit about that on Facebook last week. I just got a nagging doubt there with St Helens. And as I was having the nagging doubt about St Helens, Mount St Helens, an email came in from one of you. And this is a lady who's very used to energy. And she goes there most days just to walk and commune with the mountain. And she said she's felt strange there the last few weeks. Felt very unsettled there. So I suppose, you know, that question from Pauline about how do we make change ourselves? We often make change because we are so unsettled, something has to give. It's the same with the earth. So when you start to feel that just unsettled energy in earth spots, whether it's Mount St Helens, wherever it is around the world, I think we all have to just take note of it, okay? Metatron has prepared us very well for whatever is coming. I think if you have watched the first 2 videos that I did last week on that, you're well prepared for anything that arises, and we will be told anything else that we need to know on a need-to-know basis, is what I'm being told. So don't go into fear too much on it. It is just the earth doing what she does and what she always has done and what she always will do. Okay, last question. Kundalini, somebody's asking about. That's a great question, but it's probably for another day. There's a few questions coming in on love. Yeah, and my computer's now just stalled itself again. That needs an upgrade, you see. Everything's being upgraded. All right, guys, I'm just going to spray a spray and for you to sink into, and then I'm going to say goodbye. And the spray that I'm showing you is this one, and it's the Fear Fighter energy. Okay, just tune that in. See, we've got the person with the bow. And the bow, the fiery bow, we can shoot that into the distance to help promote change in our life. We can shoot the bow to fight off whatever we are frightened of, but the bow and the flame is there for us. So let's just use this and let's connect into that energy. This is about fighting fear. Whatever comes our way, this too shall pass. Breathe into your solar plexus. Take that yellow ray all the way down to your body, all the way down to your solar plexus. Fill your aura with that beautiful golden light and see yourself being handed an arrow. And the, I don't know what it's called on the back, the sheath, is it? Where the archer carries his bows and arrows, okay? And you're being given that. You're being given a sheath full of the arrows and you have the bow, okay? It's another piece of protection, armour that is being given to you for these times. You're each being given your own sheath of arrows to fire if you ever need them. Most of you won't ever need them. Okay. Much love, everybody. Hang in there. We're all in it together. Much love. Bye-bye.